7:43 is our time. It is a Friday morning, a wet start. Nothing too surprising there. It's been like that all week. Joining us this morning is Mike Fiorillo with the Bulldog Sports Report this morning. The Meadville Bulldogs defeating Cache last Friday night and getting set to play General McLean for a Saturday night game. And we welcome Mike to the program. Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Good morning, Luke. I'm doing really well. As you said, it's been raining here too, so I'm working on my arc, looking at the long-term forecast. So I have room for you and Mark to join me.
Of course, as the animals, right?
Well, you got to take two of each. So, yeah. So I'm hoping.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mike, during our game last Friday night, we were going through scores, and it looked like it was quite a game. Not knowing the details, but just looking at the scoring, it looked like it was quite a game.
It was a great game. And really unique about that game is Cache scored their first two touchdowns in the first half on run plays, real good run plays. And Meadville, believe it or not, scored their first two touchdowns on pass plays. And they passed it to their running backs. And what happened was Coach Collins had noticed on film that the safeties for Conneaut Lake were coming up as soon as the backs opened up and the quarterback opened up to hand the ball off. So he put one of his running backs in the slot position, and Colin Kilburn, our quarterback, opened up and faked it to Isaiah Manning, and their whole secondary flew up. And why wouldn't they? Because we run the ball most of the time. And they took the ball back, and he set up and threw to Julius Ream the first time, and to Sean Wolf the second time, and they were open, caught the ball. And you can see the secondary kids for a Cache stop and say, oh, no, as the ball went over their head because they had no play on it. And Meadville got two nice touchdowns that way. Second half was a battle back and forth. Meadville came out on top against a good Cache team. And it was a nice win for the Meadville football team, nice win for the young people on the squad, and a nice win for the program. But tonight, we played General McLean, and I will say this about the Lancers. They lost their first three games of the season. They lost to Grove City, who everybody's losing to right now. They lost to Meadville. We beat them 35-21 at Benderfield, and they lost to Erie, who's a combination of three schools now, and they played tonight up in Erie for the D10 championship game against McDowell. And then what they did is they were going to Union City, and Coach Wells in his 21st season, and by the way, he's a great coach. He's won a state championship for General McLean in football. But he decided he needed to upgrade his personnel a little bit, and he made changes. He's now using three quarterbacks during the game.
Wow.
Yeah. Nazar Singleton, he runs in the Wildcat, and this kid can run up and down the field all over the place. Luke Dillon, who was their starting quarterback, he comes in and runs the wishbone, the veer. And Jake Parker will come in and run a little bit and also pass. So you have to be ready for what these quarterbacks feature. And they won their last 4 out of the last 6 games, only losing 2, McDowell and Cathedral Prep, who was going to win the state championship. Cathedral Prep will. So, this is going to be a very tough team for the Lancers. And if the Meadville kids come in saying, oh, we beat them already, this will be easy, they're going to get smacked in the face, and they will not come out with a W. I think this is a toss-up game.
This was a game, too, Mike, that was played, what was the second game of the season for you guys?
Yeah, second game of the season in Meadville.
And
we're able to.
We talked a little bit last week, over 10 weeks, it feels like that first game was 2 years ago. So a lot changes within a 10-week schedule.
No question about that. And the key for Meadville, again, tonight is to get out of their own way and not have a lot of penalties. They weren't able to do that Friday against Cache. They still had 10 penalties. I think they lead the region in penalties this year, and some are not smart penalties. And if they do that Saturday, they're going to find themselves in trouble. So they're going to have to play smart football. McLean is well coached, as I said before. They're fundamentally sound. They're feeling good about themselves. I know McLean wants another shot at Grove City. I know Meadville wants another shot at Grove City. But both of them are going to have to get through each other to get that opportunity. So I look for a great game tomorrow night at Embro University.
We were talking about that this week with penalties and stuff. Mike, you coached. How difficult is it to say to a kid, you don't want to say to a kid, I guess, hey, don't go out and give it your all. Because sometimes those penalties are coming off of, kids who are just, they're out there to do the job and they're passionate about what they do. So how do you tell that kid, okay, just ease off a little bit when you really don't want them to ease off of going out and playing?
Well, what you do is, and what Coach Collins and the staff do very well, even so some of the kids haven't got the message yet, is they use film.
Right.
And they show them using the film so the kid sees it. And some of our penalties, which haven't been too intelligent this year, have been really like a kid's going out of bounds. You don't need to come up and hit him. He's already going out of bounds. So if you do that, the referee's going to throw the flag every time, and they should.
Right.
And, we have a tendency to do that sometimes. We let our emotions get the best of us. Sometimes, and I will actually be honest, in some of the penalties I thought were thrown against us last Friday, I'm still looking for what the kid did wrong after watching the video. They called questionable calls against us, and sometimes it's not the referee right there. It's the referee 30 yards away. And I'm like, well, if the referee right there didn't see it, how are you seeing it 30 yards away? But, they had the final call.
Now, the opposite of that is when you're not getting calls by the guy that should be calling them, and you're getting help from the guy who's 30 yards away. I mean, there's a problem there, too.
Yeah, so, whatever. But you're right. So, Meadville's just going to have to play smart football. And, I went to their practices this week. They feel good about themselves. I'm sure McLean does also. So I think it's going to be a rock'em sock'em football game Saturday night. Javar Manning, by the way, became the third time it's happened in Meadville history. He's now rushed for over 2,000 yards in a season. He's rushed for 2,186 yards, a long of 94, which happened last Friday night. It's amazing. Cash is going in. They're inside the red zone. They're inside our 10-yard line. They run a play to their real outstanding running back, and he happens to get hit, and he fumbles on the 6-yard line. We recover. It's 14 up. We recover. We go into our offense. We hand the ball to Isaiah Mann, and he takes it 94 yards to the house on the next play.
Wow.
So a complete flip of momentum on 2 plays, just like that.
Wow.
It was an unbelievable run. He broke like 4 tackles, and he's an outstanding young man. As I said, though, it's the 3rd time in the history of Meadville. It's the 4th time it's happened. Journey Brown twice ran for over 2,000 yards. Isaiah's uncle, Javar Manning, who was an outstanding running back who later ran for Edinburgh, ran for over 2,000 yards. And now Isaiah, Javar's nephew, has run for over 2,000 yards. So
that's incredible.
It's outstanding. Those 3 guys are great people. As we know, Journey's at Penn State right now. And by the way, Journey was at the game last Friday. I mean, he loves his Bulldogs. He was on the sideline. He was cheering for the Bulldogs, and he's just an outstanding man. And I asked him after the game, I said, Journey, how's it look for the Penn State-Ohio State game? And he goes, it's going to be a tough one. Well, it turned out to be a prophet. It ended up more being a tough one. It was a tough loss. But yeah, it should be exciting Saturday night. I have a question for you, Luke, and big headlines and news coming out of Titusville. As I see the football position is opened. Your coach retired.
He did. Not to get into it, this wasn't a decision that was recently made. He's known this for a while. So,
okay.
There's
was it his decision or?
Oh yeah.
I thought he did a great job there.
Yeah, we've had that conversation with him. But there's a lot of things going on in life, and there's also that time when you look at things and. You say, okay, you know what? Maybe it's someone else's turn to step in and do some stuff. But no, he's known for a while, so clear back into the summer, I believe. But
okay, so is there any word on who's interested in the Titusville job? I think it's a good job. Any idea of the candidates from within, or what are they doing? Do you know?
I don't. I think they'll probably take their time and take a look at that situation and see, what to do. We were talking about internally. They haven't. I don't think they've outsourced that position since Coach Wiley when they brought him in from Danville, because you had Buck Crabb, and then you had another 1 or 2 in there, and then Wiley stepped in for a while. Then you had Coach Salvo and then Hancock. But this might be the year that they open it up and look for somebody on the outside to come in.
Well, I not to tell you guys how to do your job because you do it very well, but if I was you, Luke, I'd give Mark a microphone and tell him to head down to the AD office at Titusville High School and get an exclusive interview and find out what they're doing for the football position.
He's on his way
a 60 minutes thing.
He's on his way right now. Hey, Mike, a couple things. One, I see that you guys are playing on neutral ground tomorrow night.
Well, what's funny about that? We don't mind playing Edinburgh University. And when I saw the District 10 people at the game last Friday, I said to them, if we would beat Cache, we're playing McLean, I don't think we'd mind playing here. And the District 10 guy said, well, I don't know if we'd do that to you guys. Edinburgh is so close to, Gerald McLean's so close to Edinburgh University.
Yeah.
And I looked at him and said, are you kidding me? In the basketball playoffs, Gerald McLean always plays at Edinburgh University. So what's the difference between basketball and football? And he goes, oh, yeah, they do, don't they? So you put the game there. And I like the venue very much. It's
Sure.
a great venue. It's a great place to call a game. The people up at Edinburgh are real nice. They treat us well. So, we're not playing on McLean's high school field, which is an outstanding facility also. We're playing Edinburgh's facility. So, yeah, they have a 5-minute drive, if that. We have a little longer drive, but it's not like we're driving all the way to Pittsburgh either. So,
Right.
we don't mind the facility. I'm just hoping it stays dry. I looked at the weather forecast. It looks like there's a 3-hour window between 7 and 10 tomorrow. There's no rain forecast, which means we'll probably have snow, but I'm not sure.
7:54. This is the Morning Drill on Stream Television. Armstrong and the Allegheny News Talk Sports Network. Well, your season's not over, certainly, Mike. But looking back, what's been your favorite game to call this season?
Wow, there's been so many. As I said, they're 7-3, and I thought they'd be 5-4 this year. Just the way the coaching staff has brought along the players. If I had to pick a game, it would be last week, being our arch rival Cache, who is a very good team. I think we caught them off guard a little bit by our pass plays early on. That was an outstanding win for us, and probably when we went up to Du Bois and handled them, because they have a great quarterback, and that was a nice win for us also. But just the overall being around the young people, our kids are outstanding, like everybody's kids are, and their growth and development has been outstanding. They're very coachable, and just the way the coaches work with them, and it's just been fun. I like being around these young kids. They keep you young. So when they win, I'm happy for them. And that's the thing, I enjoy seeing them being excited. And they were so excited after beating Cache last week. They had so many smiles on their faces. Usually they, at the end of the game, will do jumping jacks and spell out Bulldogs. And they got the letter B, and they were so excited they just ran into each other and formed a big circle and started hitting each other on the heads and stuff. They were so they were acting like kids, which they should. So they were happy that they beat Cache. And now they have a tough opponent in Gerald McLean, and see where that takes us. The other game tonight is a semifinal between Grove City and Fort LaBeouf. I look for Grove City to win that because they look like a well-oiled machine. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens between Meeville and Gerald McLean. We'll be on at 6:30 with the Coach Collins Show on the Allegheny News Talk Sports Network, and also on WAS 94.3 FM, which means that anybody out at the Edinburgh area can also pick us up if they want to, and we'll have the game covered on every angle.
Armstrong going to be there?
No, but they might use the Tom Leach, who films for the Bulldogs. They might use his film, because Tom always plugs into our feed and has the voice track. And I'm very appreciative that Coach Collins, when he shows it to his team, doesn't put the voice track on. So I'm glad he doesn't sometimes, so he just lets it go quiet, and he talks over it about what he wants to point out, which is probably a good thing.
Oh, that's going to be a fun game tomorrow night, Mike. And again, congratulations to the Bulldogs and their success this season. For us, we're looking ahead to winter sports, and that's just hard to believe. You'll be doing basketball here in about a month.
Yeah, me and the professor. The professor's on for another season. So I'm looking forward to
They got the contract negotiations taken care of?
It gets tougher every year with Vic, because he has two agents now. He had one, now he has two agents. He says he's bilingual. I'm not sure exactly what the other language is. No one else is either, but he does speak two languages. So we're trying to figure out the other one. It might be Croatian or something, but we're not sure.
Now, you were talking about maybe getting some sort of a direct feed from his home in Florida, so he could just stay there and do the games.
Well, he's working on that, where he could get a camera set up and he could see the game sitting in his lounge chair in Florida and comment during the game. He's working on that, and who knows, with Vic, it might come to fruition. But if not, he bounces back and forth during the season. He takes his private jet and lands it here at the Meeville Airport and does the game, gets back on his jet with his entourage, and goes back to Florida.
Nice life. That's a good life.
And which I didn't know either, Luke, and it might be a surprise to you, and I do have a scoop. I wasn't supposed to let this out, but I will. I hear that Mark's going to be part of Vic's entourage here.
After he interviews the AD here.
Yeah, and we're hoping he gets to that story. That's a hard-pressing issue for people in Titusville. So knowing Mark, I'm sure he'll get to the bottom of that and let us know during the course of the winter months what Titusville's doing with their football program.
You know, Mike, I hate to throw this out with less.
I got to say this real quick, Luke.
Sure.
Watched and listened to the broadcast of your soccer team, and I'm thinking next year when I do football to come up with a little English accent, when I do my football games. No, but the man you have, you must be from England.
He is.
Boy, he knows the game real well.
Yes.
He knows the game of soccer, and he's fun to listen to. And, how appropriate you have a person with an English accent that knows the game and broadcast. That's super.
No, we don't worry about expenses here, Mike. We fly him over for a couple games and send him back.
He was a soccer ball in a former.
Yeah, Gary's a great guy. I hate to throw this out with a minute now to go, and maybe this is something we talk about next week. The state of high school football. Where are we going to be in 10 years?
Wow.
You think about that, and we'll talk about it next week.
Sounds good. Yes, I will.
All right, quickly, Mike. Tomorrow night, recap what's going on.
We'll be on at 6:30. The Bulldogs against the Joe McLean Lancers from Sox Harrison Stadium at Embro University. We'll have the semifinals covered, and was 94.3 FM. Of course, the Allegheny News Talk Sports Network. And download the Ustream app, type in Meadville Sports, and you can take the game anywhere on your cell phone.
Mike, great to see you as always. We will talk to you hopefully next week.
Thanks, Luke. Thanks for everything, Mark. Have a great weekend.
You too. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
All right, we have news coming up next.
Ein Punker unterrichtet in der großen Stadt. Es war in Wien, war Vienna, wo alles tat. Hatte Schulden, der Natur, doch ihn liebten alle Frauen. Und jede rief, na kann man Rock me Amadeus. Er war Superstar, er war